Breakcore can be downbeat, heavy and slow, or really crazy and fast.
You have like the drum and bass sound, but also like the happy hardcore sound. You got all different kinds of mixtures, and that's what I like about Breakcore.
Es gibt irgendwie kaum noch Grenzen, was sozusagen nicht verwendet werden darf oder so.
Everyone is repeating their own history in making music, you know. I mean, Breakcore samples a lot of existing music.
Schau dir Leute an wie Donna Summer oder Drune oder Duran, die nehmen irgendwelche Sounds her, die schon mal da waren, irgendwelche Samples von irgendwelchen Disco-Krachern oder Popnummern oder irgendwelchen Country-Songs oder Western-Songs und so und verpacken die halt super cool.
You mentioned like new breakcore to someone, it's like oh, Venetian snares, but you know what? It's because he is a fucking good artist, and I am influenced by Venetian snares.
I'm glad that you know, someone like him, crazy genius, is part of the music we make. You know, one of the, if not the most refreshing producers of this century so far.
Blended Mühe steht, glaube ich, unter den ersten 4 Levels, wenn es um extreme Breakbeat-Musik geht, finde ich.
It's a lot of hard work to get it going. You know, it's been quite difficult. It's not that successful really, but we built up a name.
I started off as a visual artist. I was a photographer and did sculpture and some installation stuff, and I always liked music a lot. I had a lot of ideas for music and a lot of ideas for production, but I didn't know how to do anything. And then when I started working on the computer, I realized that I had become the band. That I didn't need the guitar player, and I didn't need the drummer, and I didn't need the bass player. I was just the guy. I really come from more of a rock background, so I really kind of try to give more of a rock show. Much more audience interaction, like talking, dancing, moving, like it's much more a show for the crowd. It's much more an event that you have when you get people together to hear music. I have a computer. I have some breakbeats. I can speed them up and make some music out of it, you know. And this is this kind of 3 chords and the truth kind of idea that you had in punk rock music.
Someone gave me a Game Boy, and I just made it, and then it's pretty good. So.
Da waren es dann für mich nicht nur die harten Breakbeats, sondern auch Leute halt, die Schlager mit Elektronik gemixt haben oder irgendwas anderes Schräges gemacht haben. Ja? Oder Porno mit Elektronik. Ja? Das war für mich auch Breakcore. Und ist es auch jetzt noch, weil es eigentlich eben auf was anderes ist, was Neues. Da hat es eine so eine Platte gegeben, von 1993 war das dann, glaube ich, die hat eben auch so Metal Riffs und Speedcore-Beats irgendwie verknüpft hat und Gabba, so, das hat mir dann eher getaugt, weil ich halt natürlich auch musikalisch eher aus einer härteren Richtung gekommen bin. Und das war dann halt im Elektronischen hat sich das eigentlich fortgesetzt, das habe ich dann immer gesucht. Also was ich in Berlin beim West jetzt gesehen habe und was mich sehr beeindruckt hat, war Drum Corps, der Live-Act von Alan Spectre. Mit Grindcore-Elementen harte Breakbeats zu machen, die wirklich genial arrangiert mit Effekten.
I started to like categorize everything and make subcategories and folders of all these guitar sounds, and ended up with this huge mess of files. And then I realized it would be better just to play it myself, and then I could get what I wanted more quickly. So I picked up guitar, and I've been leaning in that direction. So right now it's about half sampled guitars and half stuff I play myself.
I would say for the moment Igor is really hot.
I don't know if breakcore is such a big shock for people, but it's definitely different and something new on the music scene. As we can see, breakcore is growing up all the time. Events are bigger and bigger and bigger, and many people knows what means breakcore right now.
It seems to me that the whole kind of phenomena of the genre of breakcore is kind of slowly growing all over the world. I mean, you have the Breakcore Give Me Wood parties, which are now huge in Belgium. You have the Toxic Dance Hall parties in Bristol, which are fucking massive.
The young people don't know the punk scene or didn't know the punk scene or the squat scene, and we present them a squat party with new music. And I think for a lot of young people it's like when they come to their first squat party, it's like, wow, the youth is rebelling and I want to be a part of it.
I started as a bassist for a grindcore band, and then I played drums in a doom metal band from 92 till 96, and then I started Bongra in 96. The only thing only electronic music I knew was gabba, but then when I heard jungle beats in 92 or 93, then I realized that this is the shit.
Me and my cousin were both buying a lot of records, and over the years came, and then we started getting into more of the gabber and speedcore. Then from there it spawned to like DHR type stuff with like all the early breakcore stuff. Then we got into more like Praxis style records, and it all kind of just merged from there. Then we stuck with the style and stayed with like lots of scratching, lots of DJ tricks, but with like a more experimental style of music. And then got into noise, and instead of using like typical scratch records that a lot of people use that have like all the same samples like and fresh, we got into more noise and just doing noise and scratching to noise records, and it just seemed to fit with all the style that was going on. now it's growing like all around in the States. You see little places popping up in all different cities. Like you'll go to New Jersey, there'll be like 100 people. Places like New York, there's a lot of people. Even people are doing stuff in like Phoenix, Arizona now, where it's likable that you can maybe do a whole U.S. tour, but it's still it's raging in Europe. That's where everything's going on.
Some promoters are trying to throw a really artsy show where people can stand around and talk about the music. Other ones just want people to dance, and I think other ones are more like punk feeling, like a breakcore party where people are supposed to go really crazy and over the top.
I'm just as involved in the noise scene as I am in the free jazz scene as I am in the electronic dance music scene. In this trip alone, it's been such an amazingly wide range of things. In Brussels, I played in a beautiful ancient theater with Tony Conrad and Charlemagne Palestine, you know, these classic 60s avant-garde minimalist figures. And then the night before, I was in Ghent at a squat with, like, you know, crusty punks and people just drinking and smashing bottles. I mean, playing almost identical music. Wow, you know, people actually listen to this fractured, just almost like anti-dance music. It's just so complex and impossible to follow. How could you ever dance to this? And this light went off and I went, yeah, dance music that you can't dance to. That's, for me, you know, the energy of dance music, but super cut up and fragmented and abstract, and that was just so perfect for me, you know, like just taking the signifiers of a kind of music and then just twisting them inside themselves and making something just completely anarchic and fresh, and just kind of punk in a way, you know. It was really like, the time it really appealed to me, and I've kind of kept this theme alive for the last 10 years since I've been doing all this stuff, so.
I was surrounded by the whole DJ culture. I was a definite part of the Detroit techno family. Of course, I got fed up with that at one point because they were making some very good hard music, but then it went back into like some house vibes, and at that point, I just went more into jungle and then harder breaks. A bunch of little metalhead kids coming up to me and like really being enthusiastic about the crossover, and they were really looking for extreme music. I don't think they're biased or jaded against if it's electronic or if it's just pure instruments, you know. They seem really open-minded and just wanting to hear some really hard music. So that's good, and that's been happening in like every city I've been playing in. I don't think I could generalize and say, yes, it's a super political scene, but I also would say there are politics involved, and people do have to deal with it. No matter how successful they want to be, they're going to have to deal with that because it was a part of the founding structure.
Was eben ein Einfluss war, das war früher einfach das riesige Zugpferd, das auch alle gehört haben, war eben diese ganze Geschichte Atari Teenage Riot, Actator und Digital Hardcore Recordings. Und das hat sich vom Sound her ja verändert. Das Label gibt es ja nach wie vor, aber macht Geschichten, die in der Breakcore-Szene gar nicht mehr wahrgenommen werden.
Early on, all the labels were really pushing, which still are, which labels, like I mentioned again, like Praxis and stuff, they're very political labels that try and wider stand, that try and expose people to more information.
Es gibt Websites, es gibt Diskussionen. und einen Austausch und einfach Aktivisten auch, die einfach politisch aktiv sind. Das ist schon ein Unterschied und das steht für mich aber nicht im Gegensatz jetzt zu einer Party, um dort Spaß haben zu können.
We would never had known that people in America were doing the same thing if we hadn't had the internet, you know.
When it comes to underground music, Breakcore is, I think, a perfect example of how the internet has established a music style, especially through distribution, all the labels on the net, and the contact between artists and people listening to the music.
The people that I consider to be my peers are, none of them live in the same city. They live in the US. We all lived all over the US, and at the same time we would be emailing every day with Sick Boy in Belgium, with Hard Off in Japan, with Toe Cutter in Australia, and I think now the whole scene is completely based on the internet.
None of this stuff would be released without the internet. I think so. I think a lot of people find out about things because of the internet. But then also, fuck the internet, man. It's like, you know how many fucking shitty bedroom producers are out there now getting shit released because of the internet? It's terrible.
I think breakcore as a sort of sound was already there before the internet and broadband took hold, but yeah, it's definitely, young people now use the internet to listen to music, so they probably wouldn't have found out about it otherwise.
Was man Breakcore jetzt nennt, existierte schon vor vielleicht 10, 15 Jahren und ist dann ein bisschen gestorben. Das wurde ein bisschen vergessen. Es gab immer so einen Kreis von Hardcore-Freunden, die das immer gehört haben. Aber seit vielleicht 3, 4 Jahren ist das deutlich größer geworden. Und was neu ist, was richtig neu ist, meiner Meinung nach, ist es gerade so allgemeine Medien, allgemeine Musikmedien sprechen davon.
Just the fact that you guys are sitting here like asking me about breakcore, doing a documentary about breakcore, you know, seems like obviously there's a lot of people interested in it. Obviously there's a lot of people interested in it. You know, like you go to Breakcore gives me wood party and you get a ton of fucking people wanting breakcore. But you know, that's great, but at the same time, you know, has this breakcore become a product? You know, has it become a brand, you know?
You got someone like Sick Boy fucking doing crazy shit, and then you got someone like, you know, like Rotator. They're doing 2 separate things, you know, but we're all on the same crew. We've all released on Rotator's label and Peace Off, and we're all doing different shit. So why is that all breakcore?
The more electronic music becomes this genre thing where it's like, you know, hardcore, breakcore, IDM night, jungle night, acid night, the more, for me, I get totally disinterested in it, the more I don't want to go out.
Breakcore is just a name to regroup things, but that things are so different. You need a word for every guy to describe music. Panopticon is different. He loves ambiances and rhythmics. His rhythmics are very speed, but it's so speed, it's like ambiances.
Ich glaube, der Begriff Breakcore, ich möchte jetzt nichts Falsches sagen, aber es schon ungefähr 93 oder so zum ersten Mal wirklich aufgetaucht und gebraucht wurde. Vielleicht sogar schon ein bisschen früher.
Vor 10 Jahren gab es krasses irgendwie so Techno-Acid, das irgendwie, da gab es echt verrückte Raver und dann, aber irgendwas fehlt da noch. Es müsste so eine Musik geben, die so kaputt ist, dass diese so Neonazi-Hooligan, Gabba, Sporttanztypen mit ihren Volkswagen-Autos und ihren blonden Freundinnen und Bomberjacke und so, dass die das irgendwie nicht gut finden und aber so die Punks und die Acid-Raver und so, dass die halt irgendwie Lust haben da drauf.
Ich war öfters in Wien zu der Zeit. Und da war das wirklich groß. Also vor allem DJ Pure hat da viel veranstaltet. Und das war dann für mich großer Einfluss, die Partys und die Musik, die Acts, die er vor allem gebucht hat, weil das waren wirklich nicht kommerzielle Acts, sondern waren halt hochinteressante Sachen.
Das, was halt jetzt Breakcore geworden ist und bald irgendwas anderes sein wird, war halt, oder der Vorgänger dessen ist halt das, wofür ich halt irgendwie Mitte der 90er irgendwie mehr oder weniger bekannt war. Also für mich sind es eigentlich immer noch die Klassiker, wie jetzt irgendwie Praxis Records. Das ist immer noch irgendwie für mich so der Standard.
Ich habe irgendwie in den 80er Jahren schon in so Post-Punk-Bands gespielt und dann und Industrial Noise Sachen gemacht. Beides mit Bands wie auch dann mit elektronischem Equipment. Für mich war eigentlich, was man jetzt Breakcore nennt, immer eher eine hybride Strategie, so eher als ein Genre. Und ich finde es auch potenziell gefährlich, wenn es jetzt plötzlich ein Genre wird, oder? Wenn man eben dann eher definieren kann, was das jetzt genau ist, oder? Sondern eigentlich interessanter, wenn es halt quasi ein Ungenre ist, das durch seinen experimentierfreudigen Charakter charakterisiert ist.
Nein, ich kann mir schon gut vorstellen, dass Breakcore irgendwie the next big thing ist. Ich meine, muss nicht sein, aber diese ganzen Effekte, die Breakcore und harte Breakbeat-Artists haben, das findet immer mehr Anklang bei den ganzen Dancefloor-Leuten.
Jetzt ist ein Punkt, wo entweder es wird größer werden und dann es kann sich richtig etablieren als ein solides Genre wie Drum Bass oder Trance oder so und dann es wird immer CDs verkauft werden, es wird immer so Breakcore Rave geben, genau wie es Trance Rave gibt. Oder es kann diesen Kurve nicht nehmen. Und dann es wird normal sterben und es wird immer noch so einen kleinen Kreis von Leuten geben, die das hören und es wird zurückkommen in 5 oder in 10 Jahren.
It's all over. I mean, it all happened years ago, really, didn't it? And everything that's happening now is probably either the end of it or the start of something new. I don't know. It's probably the end of it. I mean, because something like Venetian Snares just pulls together so many influences. It's not breakcore.
that's all I've been writing lately is orchestra music. Not even, most of it doesn't even have beats. It's just orchestra music.
I feel like people need to start slowing down and getting back to this like pounding sound, you know, a pounding sound, a sound that's like relax, just relax a little bit, and you can still feel it and feel the bass.
I'm very optimistic with the way it's going because people are just really creative these days. If anything, the internet has allowed it for everyone to just find whatever crazy music they listen to, and people's tastes are getting more diverse because of it. You don't find people who are now like stuck in one particular genre as much as they used to be.
There are so many musicians out there making music, either never before or just starting to make music on a computer, and the ideas were so different. I like that so much. Everyone was doing something so different. There wasn't any genres. There wasn't breakcore. There wasn't IDM. I guess there maybe was just starting IDM, but it really was a bunch of people like learning how to make music and making interesting things because it was this new developing thing, and they're learning how to like make electronic music, or they're learning how to like avoid making electronic music but still recording on a computer. And I just think that, you know, the amount of people I met in such a short time is really amazing.
Even though there's a lot of generic crap that comes out, because there's so many people now that are making so much music, and it's all building off of itself, even if a lot of it sucks, eventually all really awesome, cool shit does bubble up out of the top just because so many ideas are bouncing back and forth. It's almost inevitable that something fucking brilliant is gonna like kind of shoot out of it somehow.